I thought I would give you some information about this thing that's happening for Taurus and Taurus rising people, which you may have heard about. So I've come up with this idea, which I've been thinking about for years, and this wonderful woman called Nina is helping me make it happen. So Nina is Taurus rising, and I was talking to her the other day. Actually, she's Taurus with Taurus rising, as it happens. And I was talking to her the other day, and I said, well, this new moon, this next new moon, which comes 2 weeks after the full moon, which is today, is going to take place in your 11th house, which is basically your new moon wishing zone. Okay, and I said, so what you really need to do is you need to use the new moon that's coming in 2 weeks' time to make some serious wishes. And she was like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting, and blah, blah, blah. And we were talking about it, and one of us said, why don't we actually do a whole webinar for Taurus and Taurus rising people? And next month we'll do Gemini and Gemini rising people, and the month after that we'll do Moonchild and Moonchild rising people, all through all the 12 signs until we get back to Taurus again. So what we're actually going to do in these sessions we'll be talking about the new moon. They're going to be an hour long. We're going to talk about the new moon, what kind of new moon it is. We'll talk about the quality of the new moon. So is it a good new moon? And then we'll talk about the 11th house so you can understand more about why for Taurus and Taurus rising people, it's the new moon in your lucky wishing moon. And we'll talk about the concept of the wishing zone and luck in astrology. And then what we're going to do, because it's going to be just once a year that you can do this, what I'll do is for the rest of the hour, apart from maybe some meditation and some chanting, we'll also take a look at the year ahead for you. Okay, so you know, when Venus is going to be in your sign, which is great for makeovers, or Venus is going to be in your love zone, which is great for love, or going to be in your second or 8th house, which is really good for abundance, all that kind of stuff. So you'll basically get a map for the year ahead. Now, should you do it if you're Taurus or Taurus rising? You should do it if you're either of those two. If you don't know your rising sign, all you need to do to find out your rising sign is to know your time, date, and place of birth. Now, if you don't know your time, obviously ask your mother. If she doesn't know, or you can't ask her, ask your dad. If he doesn't know, or you can't ask him for whatever reason, sometimes it's on your birth certificate, and failing that, it might be, you might be able to ring the hospital where you were born. Some of them did keep records, depends where you are in the world. In Australia, they do keep records. And if you still don't know it and you're really into astrology and you want to find it out, there are two main methods to find it out, which are going to a kinesiologist who does muscle testing. So it's like, I don't know if you've heard of it, strong for yes, weak for no, and they'll basically test you and tell you what time your body says you were born, because on some level your body knows what time you were born. And then you can also go to what's called a rectification astrologer. And a rectification astrologer will ask you about all the important events in your life, like when you got married, if you got divorced, or when you started university, or when you got your first job, all big events, when you had a first child, all that kind of stuff. And using that, they can actually kind of work backwards with your chart to try and work out what your rising sign is. Neither are an exact science. So I always say, if I didn't know when I was born, which I'm lucky enough to know, exactly, and I've had it kind of verified by a few different sources, including my grandmother, Grandma Rose, who wrote in a notebook that we found after she passed away, a note that she'd made about my birth, about the time, which actually matched with what my mum had told me forever. So that was great. But if you don't know it, it's not the end of the world, and you can just use your star sign, what's commonly known as your star sign, what astrologers call your sun sign. But so if you're Taurus or Taurus rising, this one is for you. Did I give you the address for getting your chart done for free? I don't think so. It's moonmessages.com/free chart, one word. moonmessages.com/free chart. And if you are Taurus or Taurus rising and you would like to sign up to get in on the action, I'm actually not sure, but it might be limited to 50 people, depending on how we end up going live, because I think we might go live on Zoom. And if we do that, I think my current package, as we kind of get into this, I think it only allows for 50 people. So you had better sign up soon if you want to be amongst the people who are doing it. The price is £19.99, which I hope you'll agree is worth it to get a year of information about what's going on in your chart. And the other thing I'll do as we take a look at the year ahead is I'll also talk you through where the sun's going to be every month, because that will help you to understand where your focus should be every month. We'll talk about where the eclipses are hitting your chart, where the Mercury retrogrades are hitting your chart, where Venus retrograde in 2020 is going to be hitting your chart. Venus being the planet of love and abundance, going backwards in the middle of the year this year. So that's quite a big thing. And because you all have either basically the same chart, I can tell everybody all this information. And even though it will be slightly different if you were to look at when it's actually going over your planets, overall, this is going to be really powerful information for you to use, okay? And I'll talk you through all the new moons and the full moons in your chart, and I'll probably give you lots of PDFs and resources as well, so that you'll have something to refer back to. So as I said, the address, if you're Taurus or Taurus Rising and you want to be on the first ever, we haven't actually decided what to call it at the moment. At the moment, we've just called it Written in the Stars. So we might stick with that. We're not really sure. But if you want to be the part of the very first one to find out all about your lucky wishing moon, we might call it that as well. The address to go to sign up, as I said, it's £19.99. Now, I'm not sure what that is in dollars, but it's probably about $30, $35 Australian or American. You can always find out online, but it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be much more than that. And I hope you agree that's worth it. It's going to be really fun. And I know you're going to get amazing, amazing, amazing information. So the address to go to, if you want to sign up, it's written on this piece of paper, moonmessages.com/lucky moon. Lucky moon. And I'll tell you in the workshop why this coming new moon is lucky for Taurus and Taurus rising people.